Hello, I'm Master Sergeant Bill Connor with the Media Engagement Division here at the TEC. From time to time we have visitors, DVs, lecturers come to the base to talk with us about a variety of topics. And sometimes those topics are things that would be of benefit to other folks in the Air National Guard as well. So we like to bring them into the studio, talk for a little while, and just pass a little more information out to the field. This is the end of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So joining me in the studio today is Liz Matthews, and she's with the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. So Liz, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for taking some time to be with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your role, your job, and what does the center do?
Absolutely. The Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee is a local 501c3 nonprofit based in Knoxville, Tennessee. We serve 15 counties across East Tennessee, all the way from Knox County all the way up into our upper 8, Washington, Carter, all the way up there by the Kentucky border. So, but our center is a full service sexual assault center. What we do, we have 4 main components. We have education and outreach, which is what I do. I'm the director of education and outreach. And we go out and we teach school-based curriculums that are specific to trusted adults and healthy communication, all the way from kindergarten through high school. We also do adult education and outreach and talking to yourself, talking to the base, talking to any community partners that are really interested in us coming in to give just some topics, whatever that might be, if that's specific to sexual assault or sexual harassment. Awareness really is what that comes down to. We have our advocacy program, which really is the heart of what we do. They go to the hospital calls. We have a sexual assault nurse examiner that will go to a hospital if a victim calls or if a law enforcement calls. They go in and they perform, the sexual assault nurse examiner performs the forensic exam in a hospital and or in our center. The advocate goes with that nurse every time to be with the victim so that they have a support system all the way through their journey. We have no set amount of time for a client to come in and be with us. We know that if a client chooses to prosecute, that journey can be about 3 years, and that's what our advocates do. They walk with them through their journey, through the entire portion of that. Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner program is our other piece to our agency, and they really talk about or do the in-hospital exams, a forensic piece to that, can testify in court and be expert witnesses, can do anything on the medical side. And then the last component to our agency is really our therapy department, and they provide a full service of therapy to victims and survivors of sexual assault, but also to their families. We offer something called secondary services, which allow somebody, if their mom or their sister or their child was abused, to come in and get some services as well, get some therapy as well to help process through that event so that they can be a good support system. And really it's this collaborative effort between all 4 departments to be kind of a holistic approach to our client care.
Well, in the limited amount of time we can chat today, I kind of want to focus on the therapy part a little bit, because when you came out and spoke to us on the Lunch and Learn series, one of the things you talked about is how many people, they experience some type of assault, and the first thing they want to do is distance themselves as far as possible from the event. And unfortunately, they're also distancing themselves from any type of help, or maybe a lot of help that they didn't even know existed. So why don't we talk about some of the resources? I know some people think, well, I have to go to the doctor, and they think that's where it stops. Let's talk about what comes after that. What type of things, and I guess we need to frame this in the idea that it's not just here in Knoxville, but all over the place there's similar resources available.
There are. Every state and almost every city within those states will have some sort of a resource if it comes to sexual assault or domestic violence. They will have resources or community partners that will help with a lot of that. There are national partners as well that help with that. RAINN, R-A-I-N-N, is the national kind of clearinghouse for sexual assault victims. They have an 800 number that a victim can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will connect them directly with the services or the centers closest to them in their area. There's always somebody there that can answer questions and can get them connected. And it's really important to take those steps. And it's important for everybody to know what resources are available on the national level, because we do know that a victim of sexual assault is at a higher likelihood of using unhealthy coping mechanisms, drugs and alcohol, to help to kind of push down those emotions, to push down those feelings, and to cope through the traumatic event that's happened. The hope is they can get connected with the right resources first, as soon as it happens, so that they can start to process, they can start to move forward, and really come out as a stronger person on the other side of that event. That's where the therapy really comes in handy.
Good. I've been reading up a little on this, and one of the things that kind of surprised me is that a lot of folks, they've gone through some type of assault or some type of traumatic event like this. They reached out initially to get help. It didn't go well, if it went anywhere at all. Mm-hmm. And people are now finding the courage to come back and seek help again because services have gotten better. Absolutely. It's more available, more easily available. I don't know if that's the case for military members, if they're able to come back and talk to folks. So what type of advice would you give maybe to someone that has been through an event? Maybe it happened some time ago. It didn't happen immediately. It happened sometime in the past, and for whatever reason they didn't reach out. Mm-hmm. And now they're getting that courage, they're getting that strength to go back and try to heal. What type of advice do you offer? What would the steps be for someone in that situation?
Absolutely. For our center specifically, it doesn't matter if you were a victim yesterday or a victim 30 years ago. We want to help you process through so that you can be a survivor on the other side of that. And nationally, that is what RAIN does, is gets you connected with those right resources in your community. It is important to reach out in the initial event, but if you don't do that, that doesn't mean that the services are not available to you later. Some things won't be available, such as the nurse examiner and things where there's not evidence 20 years later, but those services with an advocate and with a therapist are still available to help you process through it and to move through it. And it is important because we know that sexual assault victims are at a higher likelihood of PTSD and anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts. And it's really important to be able to identify some of that within yourself if you've been a victim, to say, you know what, I need to reach out and I need to step forward. And it does happen that somebody will reach out and it won't be a great experience the first time. And the biggest encouragement I have is to reach out again. There are centers similar to ours across the country that are here specifically for sexual assault survivors. It's difficult for survivors when they go into a hospital the first time and get that medical attention and really don't get the one-on-one treatment they need from an emergency room doctor or from the nurse. And they're busy, we understand that, but that's where centers like ours across the country come in to really be with the victim, to walk through their journey with them, to give them that support. It's really difficult to talk about an assault. It's difficult to talk about it with your friends and family because our family doesn't know how to process that either. Our friends don't know how to process it. So having somebody who is trained in that field that can tell you this is what you should expect, this is what could happen, and really be honest with you so that you can start to move forward and start that healing journey.
Okay. So to kind of wrap up what we're talking about today, if someone was watching this, maybe there's a victim out there that just happens to see this. Mm-hmm. What would be your initial reach out that you would pass on to someone out there like this today?
The biggest thing that we tell you is that it's not your fault. There's nothing you did wrong and nothing you could have done differently to change the path that happened. And reaching out is the first step. It is really about helping you on this healing journey, and to reach out to your community partners, to RAIN if you don't know what your community partners are, and really get the services that are out there that you need. Because healing is possible. Coming out on the other side of this stronger is possible. You just need some support and you need some help, and that's exactly what partners and community agencies such as ours are here for.
Great. Well, Liz, thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking with Liz Matthews. She's with the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. And this has been a little program that we call Career Talk, where we have various community leaders and community influencers come in and just chat with us about topics that may be important to you and may be beneficial. My name is Master Sergeant Bill Connor. Thank you for joining us.